All right, welcome everybody to Purposeful Patriarchs. Just going to finish a couple more minutes of this particular clip. Shout out to the No Picks podcast. And again, we're just going through this, or whether black women or black men are creating the baby mama / baby daddy crisis. And I'll just reflect on this 15.9% of black men who are procreating with the majority of black women. And I think here has a particular clip, and then I'm going to talk about some of the literature around this just to prove a particular point. So let's go. I think this will be a short one.
Out of black women, most black women are sharing 15% of men. So that kind of hits home to me because I got family members that have had kids with dudes that had kids with other women. And I'm like, But my cousin, for example, she had a kid with a dude that had a kid with a previous chick. And he was nothing to that kid. He wasn't anything to that kid. He was not. As soon as he met my cousin, he pieced out of that kid's life. And that's not uncommon, right? From where we that's not uncommon. Pieced out, and I think that's a POS move. Don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating for that in any way. But he pieced out, started a family with my cousin, had 2 kids with her. And when he pieced out of their life, because he met another chick or they broke up, whatever the situation was, when she was confused as to why he pieced out, I was like, cuz he didn't take care of his other kid. Why did you think you would be any different?
Exactly.
In her head, she was like, oh, I'm different. I'm special.
And you hear this all the time with black women.
That's my 2 cents on it. But
Okay, I'm going to stop that there. And I'm just going to read a quote from this, which is Edward Franklin Frazier's book, The Negro Family in the United States. I think that's the last book that I need to try and get. So I could actually... so remember we looked at through Dark Ghetto by Kenneth Clark, and that was what the Moynihan report was based on. Then I've also got Philadelphia Negro by the late great W.E.B. Du Bois. And I'm trying to get hold of the Negro Family in the United States, because these are the 3 seminal books that actually show you what the historical pattern of black women is in America. Okay, and we'll read this. So let me see if there's so this, it says, as a rule, the Negro woman as wife or mother was the mistress of her cabin, and save for the interface of master or overseer, her wishes in regard to mating and family matters were paramount. Okay, so that means she could make any decision about who she sleeps with, okay, who she has sex with, okay, and who she has babies for, and how she builds her family. Okay, so this is where the matriarch, so we're now starting to piece together all the information about the black matriarchal figure within black America. This is where you get Big Mama's house from, you get your Medeas, you get your things like movies like The Families That Pray Together, all these sorts of different things. Okay, so the next part says, neither economic necessity nor tradition had instilled in her the spirit of subordination to masculine authority. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether it's money or tradition, neither of those things had given her the spirit of submission or subordination to masculine authority. Emancipation only tended to confirm in many cases the spirit of self-sufficiency. Okay, so this is where I'm an independent woman comes from. Okay, self-sufficiency. I don't need no man can tell me nothing, I won't submit to a man, all that sort of stuff. This is what slavery had taught. Okay, when emancipation came, many Negro mothers had to depend upon their own efforts for the support of themselves, and I think it talks about then supporting their children. And this is why I say I don't blame black women for this, but the effects have now been exacerbated after the 1960s, because black women have never been submissive. Okay, and that's the biggest thing. But now that you know this information, why are you still Why are you still having children out of wedlock when we know systemically within the Western society, all other groups of society follow men being the leaders of the family. Okay, and that's what is stated in the Moynihan report. So you have this black matriarchal culture which is now trying to fit itself into a white patriarchal culture, and it's just not going to work, and hence why you see the chaos within the black community and less so in other communities. And yeah, that's one of the things that's really sad, because all my life I was told, be a good black man, make sure you marry whoever you have children with, and da da da. And I think that's all good advice. But what you have to bear in mind is that black men have never been the major issue within the black community. Like they have been the major issue. That's why white supremacy simply targeted them, but they were never in the picture. And because obviously we've seen that pattern, and I think I've got the book Willie Lynch's Letter, and you'll look at what the slave master did to the psychology of black women to raise their children in reverse order of nature. And I'll do an episode on that once I get the literature put onto my screen. But this is courtesy of BGS. I'm waiting for the E. Franklin Frazier book, The Negro Family in the United States, just to validate this information, which it does make sense. Even Martin Luther King actually spoke about this. Maya Angelou spoke about this. James Earl Jones has spoken about this. Shahrazad Ali has spoken about this. So you can see that people know what has happened in Black America, and most importantly, the Moynihan report spoke about this. So a lot of black women do get upset when you talk about the matriarchal culture and the fact that it is failing black boys and black men, because they have never been allowed to rise. And it's very sad, because the system of white supremacy has held them back. But now what you see in society is that black women are also holding back black boys and black men from being fathers and being patriarchs, because the majority of them do not have children. So they're not creating a problem. And even if black men wanted to procreate with black women simply do not want those black men to lead the communities. Hence why they give the worst type of men children, rather than giving the majority of regular black men the opportunity to be married to them and to build families. And that's down to the women, because the majority of black men are not engaging in the main issue that is holding the community back in Black America. So thanks again for listening to Purposeful Patriarchs. I'm your host, Eman. If you do find this information valuable, please share it with a friend, share it with a family member, drop a comment, drop a like or a dislike. If there's information that I'm missing, please share it with me, and I would love to continue working through all of this material. Grace and peace. God bless.